Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the Follow Focus podcast. Looking and sounding, well, maybe not sounding, but definitely looking very different.
Yeah, we don't know if it sounds any different.
We don't know if it sounds any different, but
yet.
It's making our job a lot easier. Our new friend, the Rode, what is this thing called? The Rodecaster Pro Gen 1.
It's you don't have to call it out and call it a Gen 1, dude.
It
is a Gen 1.
I want to make it very clear.
You can see that is a Gen 1.
I really don't like it when I'm listening to like people I admire in the video space who talk about their gear, but then they're really vague on the generation that they're using.
You know, you can look at it and tell it's a Gen 1. Do you know what a Gen 2 looks like?
No.
No, you should Google it and figure that out. But you're not wrong.
This is a Rodecaster Pro Gen 1. You can tell it's a Rodecaster Pro Gen 1 because of the way it is.
The way it is. That's a good reference there.
Yeah,
but yeah, so we got the Rodecaster Pro, new edition. We're no longer using the 32 channel.
We only have 4 inputs now, so we've lost 28 whole inputs.
I don't know how we're gonna do with only 4 inputs.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing that I'm excited about for this, well, I'm excited about it for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to be a lot more convenient. Mm-hmm. It does internal recordings. We don't have to have a laptop off to the side recording.
Which is very nice.
But also, it has a bunch of really good audio processing built into it.
We should be sponsored by them if we're going to sell it this hard.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, we're not going to sell it this hard. It's our first time using it. We will see what it sounds like in post.
This is our honest first takes.
Yeah. But hopefully, the fact that it's got like a compressor built into it.
Yep. Dude, it's straightforward too. You know,
really straightforward.
Even if you don't know how to do anything with a podcast or compressing or any of that kind of stuff, like, you know, I don't know how to use this thing. It has a little touch screen. I was touching through the settings and checking everything out. And then it has USB. You can plug an aux into it. It has Bluetooth capabilities. And then, you know, all the little sound effects on the pads and stuff like that.
It has a soundboard.
That's pretty neat.
Which we'll see if we end up using that. We could abuse that pretty hard at some point.
Might be a problem.
Might be. But yeah, if nothing else, it's got lots of lovely, pretty colors on it.
Yeah, seriously, it looks great. Yeah. You know, it's similar to what they have at our friendly fellow ESN podcast. Mm-hmm. They have the Mackie creator board or whatever. It's a little fancier, but
a little fancier. It's got some more fancier, like dials and doodads and stuff.
I think they're both about $600. Like the new gen.
If you were to get the brand new one.
Right.
Yeah.
Gen 2. I think they're about the same price point. This one looks and seems a little more user-friendly.
I would agree. Rode has kind of leaned into that side of it a little more. Like,
they've definitely taken the podcast industry and made it for like the consumer to do their thing. Yeah. You know?
Which I appreciate. And like you're rocking the pod mic.
Exactly.
Which we're at some point going to get another one so that we're on the same microphone. I just keep forgetting to buy it.
It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's
also,
fine.
Thank you for putting down your follow focus.
I was looking at it and
I
was out of focus and I was like, all right, I got to focus back in and then put it down.
Focus, Brian.
Focus. Follow the focus. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might also notice if you're watching the video version of this, and if you are, welcome and we love you.
We weren't late on the YouTube video version. It didn't just randomly disappear when I uploaded it.
Dude, I don't know.
Dude, we've had some crazy issues, but we'll talk about it. You talk about your brightness in here.
Yeah.
You know?
So new lighting, so the lighting system that we had last time of like the stage lights with the diffusion fabric over it.
It worked.
It absolutely worked. You ran into some issues because you did the post work on the last episode.
It was kind of funny. It was a little funny weird. Things that were happening.
Tell me, what did you see? What did you texted me and you were just like, it's purple.
It's purple, right? So as you know, our studio, it needs another coat of paint, right? So we haven't done that yet. But the wall is like a navy blue, like a flat, non-reflective navy blue color.
Yeah.
Right. For some unknown, maybe super technical scientific reason, right? Those lights turned our, wide shot phone camera angle and turned the background purple, like purple, more purpley than your shirt.
Like a grape soda purple.
Yeah. Yeah. And everything else still had like a pink tint. Like we had pink tints, but we did on these cameras too.
Yeah.
So it was like,
And we knew that was going to be the case.
We knew it was
like,
going to happen, right?
We knew the color wasn't good on those.
Our white balance was 10,000,
That was
and that was just because it peaked there. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, it could have gone more. It should have gone more. It was like 10,000 and the tint was all over the place.
Yeah.
They were stage lights. They were not
right.
They were never intended to be a permanent solution.
Exactly.
But it would like the other angles all looked like a little off, but like consistently.
And I did I took the tint down maybe or up, whichever way is more green, more fluorescent. Like I took it that direction maybe 10 or 15 and it fixed it on our angles on the Blackmagic.
It was just like a little bit of a purple
angles.
Cast. You shift the whole thing green.
Yep.
It's fine.
Exactly. Now the phone angle was a beast of its own, right? I texted you and I was like, dude, I don't know what to do with this because this angle is purple. Like,
yeah, and it wasn't like the whole thing was purple. Like skin tones, like once you did your little shift of green to it, skin tones looked fine.
Good, yeah, and they matched. So that was the big thing. But for some reason, the wall was purple.
My theory is that, well, it could be two things. One, it could be something about the phone camera because our wide shot, for those of you who don't know, is an iPhone 15 Pro.
Yeah. Pro Max.
Pro Max.
Fine.
Does make a difference.
There is.
Oh, I know, because I've got the same.
I know you know. You have an Apple tattoo on your arm, so you obviously know a little bit about Apple.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
So it could be something about the way that sensor, because I know phone camera sensors sometimes respond to light in weird ways.
Yeah, differently.
Could be that.
Because it's pretty intense, weird light.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it could also be that because it was like in line, basically it was pointed straight at a wall at a 90-degree angle to the lens, plus purple-ish light coming off of the lights. It was reflecting directly back into the lens.
Specifically off the wall.
Because our other cameras are at 45-degree angles.
Yeah,
roughly.
So light is bouncing
around
away and around them. Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
That's a very good point.
It's not like you said, it's a
That might be the smartest thing you've ever said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird because this is not
totally BSing me.
I'm not BSing.
Okay,
I'm not saying I'm right, but like, it's because it's weird. This is not a reflective. Is this true matte or
this is satin? So it's
got a little bit of a reflection to it.
Like it goes matte, then satin, and then something else, and then semi-gloss, then gloss. Yeah. So it's like
it's pretty
the
matte.
Second level of non-reflective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
maybe that's what it is. 'Cause it reminds me of way back in the day. I remember there was a green screen technology that
you speed yourself every podcast.
I say back in the day. This was like, well, it was like a decade ago. I think it still exists.
You know how old I was? I was still in high school a decade ago.
Youngin'.
No.
I was in college.
Which really isn't that much of a difference. Yeah, like 4 or 5 years is really,
not even 4 or 5. We're like 3 years apart.
How old are you?
30.
Oh, I thought you were like 30 couple because you said my age starts with a 3.
Did you say 30 couple?
Couple, like 32. You know, like, I don't know.
Straight 30.
Oh, cool. So I'm 27 this year. Are you 31 this year? Because your birthday's in September?
Yep.
I remember that.
There you go.
I remembered. You didn't tell me a day, but I guess you're keeping it podcast friendly. So
yeah, don't steal my identity, please.
Yeah, because everybody wants to be Cam Harris.
As you should. Anyway.
Okay, anyway.
So there was a green screen technology that I lusted over a lot back in the day when I was like in really tight quarters. Like this was when I was like shooting in my garage and I didn't have like a good space. And with green screen, like the distance that you have from the subject to the screen is really important.
Yeah, it really matters. Yeah.
Further away you are, the less
green on them. No
green
light.
spill because the light reflects back off.
Yeah.
So there was a tech, I forget what it was called.
At least I know that much.
Yeah. There was a technology, I forget what it was called, but it was basically you had a sheet of fabric. It was green screen fabric, but it looked gray.
Okay.
And what it was actually made of was it was basically impregnated with all of these little like crystals or lenses or something, kind of like little mini sequins. And the idea was they would reflect whatever light was shining on them back out, but only like in a perfectly like straight line out.
Interesting.
So what you would do is it came with the kit came with the fabric and it came with a little ring light that would go around your lens. So a tiny little ring light that had green LEDs in it.
That's it.
That's it. So what it would do is you would turn on this green LED ring around your lens and the green light was weak enough that it wouldn't like shine on your subject.
Mess with your subject, yeah.
But it would bounce off of these reflective things in the fabric and then reflect back into the lens and it would look pure green, but there was no spill. There was no like shadow.
I've never heard of that in my life.
It's crazy. Look up like old YouTube videos. It was incredibly expensive.
Is it expensive? Okay, yeah.
Like
that was my next question was how expensive is this technology?
The fabric was incredibly expensive. I think it was like $700 for a sheet of like, 5 by 6 foot.
Well, imagine, we'll figure it out after the podcast, but imagine what it costs now. It's probably, technology is probably less. Cheap. Yeah.
Probably. But also like lighting technology and camera technology is so much better.
Yeah.
Like green screen is so much more forgiving now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I used to, when I first started messing around with like green screen stuff as a kid, being like, oh, look, it's so cool. I can be like ILM,
I can be anywhere.
Yeah. I was shooting 1080i because that's what my camera did. It was HDV. If you want to know what pain is, try to pull a good key off of footage
1080i.
that is interlaced. It is a nightmare.
Well, I absolutely have.
Okay, there
absolutely you go. Have. In my early stages of thinking, it was a funny project that we did. I don't even remember what camera we were using for it. It might have been my little flip camera. Remember we talked about the flip camera?
Yeah.
And we did a project that I don't ever think I edited, but we filmed it. And it was in my friend's basement, and we were doing like a news broadcast thing for like school.
Classic,
right?
Yeah.
So we set up a green screen, I think we bought like a green blanket or something. And
that is the standard way to do it.
Yeah. And we sat, like the green screen was on a couch, and you sat on the couch on the green screen, and then we filmed it with no lighting. Like it was just basement, drop ceiling, lights above our head that were barely lighting the room itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the reason I didn't finish the edit was because of how painful the green screen stuff was. Like we would have like sharp, jagged edges and corners in our arms and our, my one buddy has longer hair. So it's like he had super long, flowy hair. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It's rough. Green screen can be a very fickle mistress.
Yeah. Yep. I've learned so far in my journey.
And when it's not shot well, that is something that like you want that shot well.
Yeah.
Like,
green screen stuff. Wow.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's funny because like I think people have both gotten more and less forgiving on it because like special effects, we expect like perfection.
Yeah.
We expect green screen perfection.
Sorry, I was just looking at my level when you talk.
Oh yeah. How's it? How we looking?
I got you a little bit in there, but
okay.
I can probably get that out.
Yeah. We're looking pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. On the other hand, you've got people who use TikTok and Instagram and stuff with those like green screen filters without any green screen that look
great.
Well,
some of them just look great.
Some of them look good. And then sometimes you've got like their arms like disappear and like chunks of the background come through.
Yeah, but for so I say it looks great in the understanding of it's the front camera of your cell phone in any environment that you're in. Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it looks great in that part. Not great for high level green screening.
If you're trying to actually
like
sell an effect of like I'm actually here or like
no, it's not. That's not what it's made for.
Yeah, I mean I've gotten requests to basically recreate that effect. Because that's what they wanted it to look like.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is actually a very challenging effect to do in post.
To
make a bad looking key like that in post. It's a little bit of a challenge. But anyway, that was a tangent off of our lighting.
Yeah, right. So back to the whole thing that you started with here.
Yeah.
What is new?
What is new is that we have actual lights.
Actual lights. Like lights that we would take to a gig and light something with.
Yeah.
And they're also 5 foot wide.
Literally.
1 by 5.
I think they might be 1 by 4.
No way that's 4 feet.
I don't know. It's somewhere between 4 and 5 feet.
It's large.
It's very large.
If we were put them side by side, it would reach across this entire section almost of this room.
Yeah. So these are soft boxes. But like where most people think of soft boxes as like, it's like the 2 foot square or like the octagon or hexagon things.
Yeah, the standard one, you go on Amazon, give me a soft box. It's, 2 foot by 1 foot, like little box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are ones that I've actually used. I'm sure we'll post a behind the scenes image at some point.
Yeah, I took a couple. Well, I took a from my seat picture, and then we'll take one from behind the camera.
Yeah,
see what it looks like.
So find our socials.
Yeah.
And you'll see what this
it's
looks
lit
like.
Well,
it looks pretty darn good.
Pretty good. You know, it's double diffused, so it takes a little bit of the harshness, intensity out of it.
I'm so happy with the shadows.
Yeah, this looks great.
Considering we're still like 2 feet from the wall.
Right, we're not far away. You know, in an ideal setting, you know, we'd either be on a couch straight up against the wall or something, or probably right up here in the middle of the floor to give us some depth.
And at some point, I'm sure we will do that.
I was thinking, side tangent. I was thinking maybe like a bookshelf or something here.
Go for a study look.
Yeah, and then we take the table. Maybe the desk rotates right there.
We might have to rotate that way, the desk, yeah.
And then we can do our set right here in the center. So then we have a depth. Like, that's what as you know, my creative style from the last podcast, because everybody listened to it.
Yes.
Is tight with a shallow depth of field. That is just my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Right? My favorite thing to do. So if I can do anything to this set to add a little bit of depth, sure, no, I will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we've got I think this lighting look, we'll see what it looks like in post, but I think this lighting gets us in a good
even
base
just
place.
From our conversion,
just the live feed of your angle. It
looks great.
Yeah.
The shadow is super, super even like the light was so harsh that this harsh of a shadow was in our last podcast, and my hand is almost touching the wall.
It's crazy what a difference it makes going from because we were diffused last time.
Yes.
Not as heavily, but we were diffused.
We were diffused at a level.
But those stage lights, man.
They're harsh.
They are so harsh.
Like, we probably could have got the same level. We probably couldn't even have been this soft with one of those, and we have 4 of them sitting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good choice to switch over to these. Yeah. We'll invest in some. We'll get some that can stay here.
Oh yeah, but these are. I mean, these things are great because this is the I'm gonna butcher the name. Zhiyun.
Oh, the Zhiyun.
Zhiyun.
Yeah, something like that.
ZHI. Yeah. Something like that.
I call it a Zhiyun because I'm an American and I'm an idiot. That's how I would pronounce it.
Well, you wear the title well.
Thank you.
I am also an American idiot.
American idiot. Remember that video I sent you? My
oh yeah.
My intro secrets.
Young. At some point, I'm gonna have to. So this was a project of your. How old were you when you shot that?
Oh, I don't know, dude. Probably 11, 12. What was that? 15 years ago? 14 years ago?
Jeez.
So I would have been 11 or 12. Yeah.
Yep. I'll dig up and digitize some of my old stuff at some point.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
It's gonna be cringe for me. It's gonna be gold for you.
Dallas wanted to. I shared the videos to her first, and I was like, oh, can't. Well, no, I think I shared them to you because I was like, posting this video like that. That was my first journey on YouTube, right? And that was what we said in the podcast, and then I sent it to Dallas because that's my fiance. Like, I thought it'd be funny for her to watch. Yeah. She decided to blare it 100% with us sitting in the car out loud and watched like 4 or 5 of the videos that were on that channel. I'm like, all right, buddy. Like, I get it. It's embarrassing. Thanks. I enjoyed every second of it. But,
Well, I think, because like Kate, my wife, like she also loves seeing like, well, we had dinner the other week, and she told you she calls younger me Cam.
Yes, Cam.
Anytime she sees like images of me as a
little
kid,
baby
video,
you looked fun. You looked fun. You did.
I looked fun.
Yeah, you just look like that kid that you could mess with, like not bully, just mess with.
And now the world has beaten me
down. Now you look like I should bully you.
Now I'm sorry. What now? What was that word you just used?
I should bully you. Come on.
I thought you...
What'd you think I said? I heard... Should bully you?
Yes. I heard it as one word, and I was like, what is this? Oh, my gosh.
There was this lady on TikTok that posted, where are we right now?
I don't know.
Anyways, there's a chalkboard behind her, and there was 2 words. The one I can remember is Jeet. Jeet, right?
Jeet, okay.
Okay, and then she expands the word out. Did you eat?
Jeet?
Jeet?
I love that stuff.
So me saying that made me think about it. I was like, when I saw that video, I was like, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love little things like that. Did you ever do you remember way back? This was gosh, years and years ago, the New York Times had like a quiz that you could take.
New York Times? What are you talking about?
They had a quiz that was like,
okay,
it would ask you what are your word? What is the word for certain things that you use? So like,
did you hear what you said?
What is the word?
What are you word?
What are you word? I don't know. Maybe that was a question. I don't know. Take a deep breath. It's okay.
What are you word?
What are you word? What is your what?
Sweat, no.
It was what is your word
Okay.
for this thing? So like I remember one of them was what do you call like the strip of land that divides 2 lanes in a highway?
A median.
Okay, that was one of the answers.
Okay.
And that is what I would also call it.
Right.
But there were other words that I hadn't even heard of, like embankment might have been one. There were other words that I hadn't heard of. So most of them were very obvious to me, like, oh, that's that. Like,
yeah.
Yes. Or it'd be like, do you have a word for when it's raining, but it's sunny out? Like, not what is your word, just like, do you have a special word for that? And it was like, no, I've never heard of that. Using this quiz, they narrowed you down and they would tell you at the end of the quiz on a map, here's where you grew up.
Wow.
Because all of these things are super regional.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
That makes sense.
I'll see if I can dig it up and give it to you at some point. Because it was dead on for me.
It knew that you were homeschooled and, where'd you grow up?
San Francisco.
Dude, I didn't know that. I knew you were like, that's where you came out of, like for like college and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I was born and raised not in the city, but like across the bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
How's the transition to like DC and Frederick?
I've loved it. Like
more than being there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You've stayed, so.
Yeah, well, I got a job here.
Yeah,
which was a big part of it.
Yeah.
But like that was honestly that was the big thing.
Yeah.
Like the reason that I left San Francisco was simply because it was like, okay, I can't afford anything here because I'm not a tech bro.
Right, and you said you were making minimum. Was it making minimum wage or something like that?
I was making minimum wage
like,
doing.
Didn't make sense.
Well, yeah, because like
right.
I mean, I could have like I was effectively interning still with Discovery Channel. They had an office out in San Francisco at the time, and once I finished my like internship run, they were like, okay, we can't give you like school credit or college credit for this anymore, but if you want to keep working for us, we'll keep paying you, because it was a paid internship and it was San Francisco minimum wage, which at the time. Oh, you leaned back and your focus is different now.
My back was hurting. I was leaning in that podcast all day.
Your back was hurting and I'm the old man?
Yeah.
Shame.
Maybe it was my 25 years of playing high-level football. I don't know.
Maybe it was that. You do have me beat on that. My 25 years of high-level sitting in a desk chair.
That could mess you up, but in a different way.
It has.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, chiropractor. Chiropractor Cam. Yeah.
Yeah. Desk life chiropractor go hand in hand. But yeah, I
so you've enjoyed the transition.
I very much have. I like having seasons.
I don't have seasons there.
Nope.
Is that SoCal?
SoCal's the same way. I mean,
San Francisco SoCal?
No, San Francisco's Northern California.
Oh.
Southern California and Northern California, in my opinion, should be 2 different states. Because
it is a big state.
It's huge.
And they're completely different.
And it's such a cultural difference.
Yeah.
Like,
because I've ventured, obviously San Diego is like the tip of the bottom, right? It's like right there. And when my California experience is like fly into LAX and go to San Diego. Like those out of my 6 trips to California, every one of them's been to San Diego.
Everyone thinks of it like when people hear I'm from San Francisco, they're like, "Oh, did you go down to like Hollywood Walk of Fame? You ever see any celebrities?" I'm like, "Guys, that was 6 or 7 hours from where I grew up."
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Completely different.
And it's same for, me living here my whole life. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you must go to the White House every day." I'm like, no, like I went on a field trip when I was a child, and then like Smithsonian museums,
but even
once
that,
in a while,
it's an hour drive to DC from here.
If there's no traffic.
Yeah. That is more doable.
Right. Not 6 or 7 hours. Yeah.
Like it would take just as long, like from here to get down to DC. That's about the length of time it would take to get from my house where I grew up into San Francisco. Part of that was just because traffic and everyone had to go over one of like 3 bridges.
West Coast traffic is no joke.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
I mean, DC traffic is bad. West
but
Coast
it's
traffic
not
is
this.
insane.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it is, and everyone always says like, oh, but DC. Like I lived in DC for a few years, and everyone says, oh, DC is so expensive. I'm like, my barometer is calibrated for San Francisco prices.
Right.
It is very different.
Well, that's like when I was in San Diego. You know, we went to the first time. So my first trip ever outside of the East Coast, right? So I've been all up and down the East Coast, Maine to Florida.
Okay.
Is Maine the top one? Yeah, Maine to Florida.
It's pretty far up there.
So one of the two things that you'll figure out that I'm really bad at, okay? Months in the order of them.
Okay.
And then geography.
Okay.
Majority of everything that is not Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, PA, and the Carolinas.
Okay.
I don't know where anything else is. Florida, yeah, I know where that is. But like everything else, California, I know it's over there. I don't know if there's anything under it or over it. Like I know it's all the way on the side.
Yeah.
Anything in the middle, you got me.
Oh,
you win that one.
I'm real bad.
Yeah,
at the
you'll
middle
win
stuff.
that battle.
I'm real bad.
But every time I went to, well, the first time that I went to San Diego was my first flight ever. And I got in at like 1 a.m., right? I checked into my hotel at 1 a.m. I had breakfast at Denny's or something like that.
Okay.
And it was like kids eat free all the time. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, like, doesn't really matter to me, but it's a cool advertisement.
Yeah.
And then I get in there and I ordered like just some omelet. And it was like $19 for my omelet with no tip or no anything else. I was like, I see why kids eat for free, is because the adults are covering their $3 meal, you know?
You're like, I want to be a kid.
I came back here and the omelets were like $9. I was like literally paying double for that breakfast that day.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well,
Culture shock for sure.
For sure. Well, and gosh, I hear from people, because I still have friends and some family back in California, and the price difference of gas.
Oh, wow.
From like where we are. Because like you and I talk a little bit about like, oh yeah, gas is creeping up to like $3.75, $3.80 a gallon. And meanwhile, people who are back in the city where I grew up are like, yeah, it's $7.
Yeah, it's touched $10 before, and you know now it's at $7, and they're like, oh, we got a break, you know.
It's crazy.
So I need to go electric. Seriously.
Yeah, electric is pretty nice.
Push the take-ins, calling my name. I'm telling you.
So tying it back to video though, it's interesting. Because when I was getting ready to leave San Francisco, because I left when I still had a little bit of college left, just like liberal arts stuff. So I did that all online when I was back out here. So I'd finished with all of my media production classes. And I talked with, you know, a bunch of my professors and, you know, my mentors who I'd been with, you know, for the last 3 years. It was like, so I'm leaving, I'm going to start my career, you know, what do I need to know? What should I know? Yeah, that's right. Shift into your frame a little bit better.
Sorry. Yeah, that's fine.
There you go.
I'm relaxing.
This is the problem with you being able to see yourself in the camera. You just fuss over your image.
You shouldn't give this to an undiagnosed ADHD person. Or something. I got something, that's for sure.
He's got something, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyways.
So one of the big things that they told me when they heard that I was moving to the East Coast, they were like, if you want to have a job in this industry, like a real serious job, you're going to need to either, if you don't want to be in San Francisco, you're going to have to end up in either LA or New York. Because anywhere else, you're really not going to be able to make it. And even at the time, I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Maybe like in previous decades, that was the case. But now it's like everything has become so much more accessible and democratized.
Good word there.
Yeah. So I was like, I feel like, I mean, Discovery's headquarters were in Maryland. So I was like, that's a nice hub. And, you know, now, I mean, you and I are in Frederick, Maryland, which it's a lovely city. It is not a kind of place, not even like, you know, like Georgia has gotten a bit of a reputation as like a film hub in recent years. But like Frederick isn't even at that level in terms of like the renown of like, oh yeah, Frederick's a big film town,
right,
you know?
Yeah. And there are a lot of scenes and shows and movies that have been in Frederick, but nobody outside of the DMV area is like, yeah, Frederick, Maryland, right. You know?
Like, but there's still plenty of work.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I've been really kind of relieved by, especially like after hearing that from
your thing.
Yeah. But it's like I truly think that if you want to have a job in media production, I really don't think it matters where you are.
Good call. Yeah.
I think that it are you going to have an easier time if you're closer to some kind of big city or whatever? Yeah, probably. But I think you can really do it pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. As long as I believe, right, if we're thinking in the media market, right, if there's anywhere that has a pocket of businesses, somebody's going to buy something from you, you know? So as long as you're a good person, you know how to network yourself, and you make half decent quality content, somebody will pay for you to do their work.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would honestly argue that not being in LA or New York was actually a positive thing for my career, because it made it much easier. Can you imagine starting out, like you're just starting out as a video producer, you're cutting your teeth on stuff, but you're in LA. The competition and probably
you come to Frederick or you come to these smaller places that have a presence in marketing, because everywhere has a business or something that does marketing in that area.
Yeah.
But around here, it's easier for us to network with other videographers or digital marketing groups and things like that, because their goal isn't to make $1 trillion. You know, their goal is to see the businesses in this area succeed. You know, so they're gonna talk to you, sit down, have conversations, and if you have questions about tips or tricks or things that you might need, there's a good chance that in this area those businesses will have that conversation and help you out.
Yeah.
You know, and I can only imagine, because I've never done it or been there, but there's some bigger fish in the pond out there, and
it's a big culture difference.
It's got to be there. It's got to be tougher to have those conversations with businesses that are successful, right, in that industry.
Yeah.
Just because of the market and, like you said, different culture and everything like that.
Well, and you've got, hundreds of other people who are all trying to break into the same industry in the same little pocket of space.
And that's where we've had the conversation before, is us in the video space, we don't want to have a race to the bottom, know, in pricing and in the market and stuff like that. And I feel like in that super oversaturated market, essentially it's very saturated, right? Everybody can pick up a camera and do that thing. That might be what they want to do, because that's what the culture has brought to them there. But I mean, that is where the race to the bottom probably has a bigger presence. Because there's 5 million film students trying to get work and do the same thing, right? They're all not all of them. That's why there are people that break out and branch out and like have their style and get their clients. But I do think that in that environment, it's similar to being kind of by the book. Like there's a book written for how to do these things and how to do this, that.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, if there's 5,000 of you trying to go for that one job and they offer the same product, it's like, all right, well, whoever does it the cheapest for me is the one I'm going to pick, you know? So this market, I feel like, is better in the sense of we can have that personal relationship with other businesses that do what we do, and then they want to see us succeed, because our goal is to also see our city and neighboring towns and county and community also grow and succeed. Yeah. Versus LA. I mean, nobody really wants LA to get any bigger, but it does. So,
it keeps on going. It keeps on getting bigger, and the water keeps on getting smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing I like about being out here. Stuff is still green out here. Like I went back to California for a wedding a few years back, and I was like, man, was it always this brown?
Yeah.
Like, and I think it was.
Really?
I just like,
dang.
You go
You're just so used to it. Like,
you just kind of go blind to it after a while.
Yeah.
It's really different.
That's like when because I mean, you live where I grew up, and you go anywhere 2 minutes from where you live, and essentially at dusk time or sunset time, it is like the most beautiful scenery to be seen because there's just nothing. Like it's just farms and land and, you know, a couple trees here and there and then mountains. It's like, you know, little old Frederick County, Maryland. Like you don't expect something like that, especially coming from where you came from.
Oh yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Where probably the demographic and the what's it called? It's not demographic. It's
geography.
Geography. Yeah, the word that I can't figure out, right? Is just different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
We had mountains. There's like in Northern California, a lot of mountains, which actually I am physically uncomfortable if I'm in a place that doesnn't have mountains.
I can imagine.
If
I've never been somewhere without them, so I can imagine it just being clear line of sight. It's kind of got to be weird
to me because I've done the drive from California out here twice. Oof. Wow. And it is a beautiful drive. By choice? I will say. Yeah. Well, first time was because I moved out here, so we drove our stuff out here, and then second time was when
that sounds terrible.
Shortly after we moved out here, my mom followed, which I knew was going to happen. Like, you know, she had said like, oh, maybe I'll come out and maybe I'll come out and move, but I don't know. I really like California, and I was like, you'll be out here within like a year, and sure enough, she was. And she loves it too. But I did the drive with her because I was like, that is not a drive you want to do by yourself.
Yeah, because anything happens and.
Well, it's like you will like get bored out of your mind and you'll just like drift off and swerve off the road because you fell asleep because so much of it is just like corn.
Flat land and
it's just cornfield after cornfield.
Straight lines.
And it's like that's not even that it's like those states have that like. You know, I know people use the term like flyover states.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even that. It's more just the main highway that like is the highway that goes all the way across the U.S. just goes through nothing. But like that was the first time that you're in the middle of, I don't even know what state. Couldn't tell you. They start to all look the same. But it's like I'm just looking around and it's just flat horizon.
That's
nothing.
Weird.
I truly think that it was triggering like a caveman style fight or flight of like I'm exposed. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was exposed to the world.
That's so odd. Like it's got to be an interesting feeling. If we get a shoot out there, we'll drive out there just to see how it is.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. Like I don't regret doing the drive at all.
Because basically everything on the East Coast is mountainous and has some sort of terrain.
Yeah, you've got hills, you've got something.
Is it Connecticut? Is Connecticut northeast?
Yeah.
Then that one is awesome. That one is really cool to drive through.
I haven't been.
When you go from here to Boston, because I did the Boston drives, right? You go through Connecticut, I think, and essentially it's like what you would imagine a state park in a movie to be like. The whole time you're in there for like an hour and a half. It's just extremely tall trees and like 2-lane windy-ish roads. Like
love that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. I do the drive through West Virginia a lot because my mother-in-law lives out there, and it's especially you do it in summer, fall, it's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Though, fun fact that may or may not be true, because this is something I read it on the internet. So,
you read it on Reddit? That's a rap lyric.
It might have been on Reddit, honestly.
Oh, okay.
So
wow, you're a nerd.
Take it with. This is just hitting you now.
Oh, dang, man! I don't
you
know
are
who
not
you are
observant.
Anymore.
The song, "Country Roads, Take Me Home,"
it's not
to
even
the
West
place.
Virginia.
To the place. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. It is not about West Virginia. It is about Maryland. It's about where we live.
Yep. Because it's Appalachian Mountains, right, or something like that, or.
I don't even know if it's about like what they're specifically referencing, but it's like that whole landscape was inspired by Maryland.
Yep.
But West Virginia fit the
vibe.
Structure of fit the structure of the song better. Because it's like Maryland.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Not two words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely sounds better with West. I mean, because that's how we know it also. But
yeah. Like don't get me wrong, West Virginia is gorgeous, but it's like Maryland is really pretty too.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen those things that go around on TikTok? That's like, it'll say a state and like an image of it'll say a state and then it's an image of a city like within the state.
Okay.
So basically it's like a song and then it says Maryland and then it'll say like Frederick, Maryland, and it'll say Baltimore, Maryland, and it shows an image of that spot, right?
Gotcha.
So the meme of it is like they will show a place that is absolutely not that place. Like they'll show Ocean City, Maryland, and it'll be a beach in California. Like that's the image that they'll put up on it just for like the meme aspect of it. So I was just thinking that's like, it's fun. It's just one of those funny things because it'll be like Baltimore and it'll show like a bunch of rolling hills and mountains and things like that. We're like, that is not how Baltimore is.
Reminds me of that scene in Austin Powers where they're driving in his car and they're driving on these like windy like cliff roads by the ocean, and they're supposed to be like driving through southern England.
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know what's so interesting? How southern England looks nothing like northern California. They are obviously in northern California.
There, yeah.
It's like, I know that road. Like that is 100% where you are. But that's
a good reference. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But like that happens all the time. I mean, so much of this stuff that we see in movies, it's like, if you're seeing it and it's a physical location, it's probably either California, Atlanta, New York, or like Toronto.
Well, that's like, our local hot movie was Blair Witch Project. It's Burkittsville, Maryland.
Was that shot in Maryland? Oh, I had no idea.
Hold on.
Okay.
Blair Witch is based Burkittsville, Maryland. Have you ever watched it? The opening scene is the sign of Burkittsville, Maryland that is still there today. That is in our backyard, bro.
That's so funny.
You're nuts. I can't believe you didn't even know that.
I'm not a big horror movie guy.
It's not horror. It's actually a terrible movie, but everybody loves it. The only scary. So they get you in the style of the shoot, right? The super first person, like you seem like you're actually there, hand cam, like
Cloverfield did that.
Yeah.
Did that really well.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I love Cloverfield.
Yep. And essentially that is supposed to make you feel claustrophobic and like make you feel like there's something happening, but you can't turn your head to see it. Like it makes you feel stuck. Like that's the whole premise behind doing it that way visually, right? Yeah. Found footage. That's the word I was. Right. It's found footage style, right? But essentially, the whole thing is the Blair Witch Project, which the Blair Witch is like a whole thing, entity in Burkittsville, whatever, right? But they didn't shoot it there. They only shot the opening scene of the Burkittsville sign for the Blair Witch Project in Burkittsville. I don't know. They were in the mountains of West Virginia, I'm pretty sure is what I heard.
Oh, interesting.
Shooting this thing. I could be totally wrong. But
that sounds right.
I'm pretty sure they shot the movie not in Burkittsville, Maryland.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
I would totally believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember for a long time everyone was like, was this real found footage or not? Because it was like such a new style. Yeah,
Paranormal Activity.
It didn't like even occur to people that this might have been like just shot like a normal movie.
What's another older one? VHS. The VHS series was a little scary. You don't like scary movies?
I'm like, it depends.
I love them.
Like,
I got to a point where it doesn't scare me anymore.
Yeah. I remember I look
at it for the visual and the actual story.
I mean, some of them are shot really well. I remember I saw Insidious 2 in theaters. And that thing scared the Jesus out of me.
Yeah, in theaters, dude, that's crazy.
It was.
You're psycho for going to watch a scary movie in
It was because I was dating a girl who loved horror movies.
Wow, don't tell Kate.
So like,
it's fine.
Oh, she's aware. Kate's not a big horror person either.
Really?
So
you guys mesh well.
It works out nicely. Yeah, because we do not. Kate is even more of a like movie person than me. So she has like all of these old like she has a collection of Shirley Temple movies.
Oh yeah.
And like it's like an 8-disc DVD collection of like all of these old movie, like
the old school stuff.
Back from when Shirley Temple was like a child.
Yeah.
And there's like, it's very strange like watching these things because there's one that's like it's all in a bar, but all of the patrons are all toddlers.
Yeah, kids, yeah.
And it's like and Shirley Temple is like dancing for them. And it's just it's and the kids are like at the bar drinking milk, like watching her. It's like it's very strange.
That's funny.
It's like very much of the time. she loves those old black and white.
Really?
And
Is she
period
like
pieces.
I Love Lucy? You know that TV show?
Oh yeah.
Series?
I don't know. We haven't really talked
My
about
mom
that too
liked
much.
that one.
Yeah.
My mom liked I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy's great.
And then we watched The Munsters when I was growing up.
I love the Munsters.
Were
Have
great.
you ever seen shots of what the Munsters set actually looked
No.
like in color?
No.
Because Munsters was all
Black and white. Yeah, right.
The set, if you look up images of the Munsters set, it is like a rainbow.
Really?
Because the way that black and white film reacted to different colors to get the specific like shades of gray in the black and white stock that they were looking for.
Something a certain color.
So like the walls of their living room are like bright pink.
Really?
It's hilarious to look at.
Yeah, I have to look at that. That's funny.
It's crazy the stuff that people used to have to do to get stuff to look the way that they wanted it to.
Just imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years, you know? Like
I can't.
It's going to be no, it's like impossible to think about. Like our cameras are going to be able to do all these things we do manually so accurately, automatically, right? Like that it's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane.
And then it's just going to be a matter of what is your vision.
Yeah.
Like
we might be able to throw in some reference photos and type it into like a AI bot or something. And
that AI video is getting good.
Yeah.
Like it's still not quite there, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
And I'm one day maybe.
One day it might be. Is there another AI like website that you can type in what you want and it'll create those
there's like a billion
video
of them.
graphics for you?
There's like a billion of them. Wasn't it? What's the new?
That's like not new, but it's pretty new.
There was the new model that OpenAI came out with. I think it's Sora AI.
Sora sounds right.
I think that's the name of the model.
Yeah.
And there's a couple sites that have basically like built front ends for it.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it can generate some interesting stuff. Like it still is in kind of that uncanny valley area. But I think that stuff is eventually, I think, going to basically take the place of like stock footage.
Well, I think they showed a lot of their stuff was like drone shots, like drone shot of the woods with a windy road or something like that, you know, like, so it really could take place of something like that. You know, if it gets detailed and you have the ability to manipulate the color, that might be game changing.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
I think that you're still always going to have a need for physical, like actual shoots and cameras for the kind of stuff that it's like people want it to be a shot of actually like the thing that happened.
Yeah.
You know,
that
like I highly doubt that you're going to get to a point where a company, like a business who wants marketing is going to be like, oh, have an AI generate an image of my storefront and show that to people. Like maybe one day, but I think it's going to be a lot better if it's.
I will never count something like that.
Never count something out.
I'll never count.
But I think for the foreseeable future, it still is like, no, you want to see what is actually like.
You remember the internet came out like 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can only imagine what happens in the next 30 years.
It's going to be
crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Like we were saying, our kids and our grandkids' wedding films are going to be like 32K. Like
they're going to be in VR.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
We should talk about VR at some point because I feel like that is kind of the next frontier.
Oh, okay.
Of video is that kind of like spatial video thing.
Yeah. So are you thinking VR or are you thinking like AR, like augmented?
For video, it's VR.
Okay.
Because augmented.
You that talked to me about doing the cameras,
the Vision Pro.
Was it the like you wanted to figure out how you could make?
Yep.
Did we talk about that on the podcast, or that was just
that was before the podcast? That was when
I
we should have a whole conversation about this on the show at some point.
Yeah.
But that was basically the idea of how do you create video that is like 180 degrees, wraps around you when you're wearing a headset like a Quest or a Vision Pro or whatever. Because Apple has a demo in the Vision Pro of like watching 8K video at 180 degrees that wraps around your entire front, and it's 3D.
So what would ours be if we were to put our cameras side by side and rigged it? Would it be 12K?
No, because remember,
Two
it's
6K since
it's stereoscopic, so each camera is an
6K
eye.
is an eye, so it's still
It would still be 6K
180 degree 6K video.
Yeah, which is still nothing to sneeze at.
We should try it. We should just try it.
I mean, the trick is you got to get the lenses as close together as human eyes.
That's fine. We can make it happen. I'll rig it.
We've got the bodies in the way. That's the trouble, is that the bodies are too big. So a lot of people will they'll do rigs where they actually have like a kind of periscope rig where like one camera is shooting straight forward, the other one is actually below, pointing up.
You told me this.
And then there's an angled piece of glass.
Yeah.
It's all very like custom right now. And that's the trick with it.
Like we could I don't know why we're going here. We could totally put our cameras like this, and obviously that's not wide. That's giving you a taller 6K frame.
Yeah, but it could work.
And go like this.
That could work. You've got everything
so
is
then
a
it's vertical format.
Vertical FOV. Yeah, it could work.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Top to top. Your lenses. Your sensor would be right. It would be dead on.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at it, and I think it would be, if not dead on, very, very close.
Yeah.
Something we can try. We
It
can make a
is.
YouTube video about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated by that stuff.
Yeah.
I've thought that is the next, like, it's the thing that feels so far out of reach right now, but that's what 4K felt like.
Right.
Wait, like I remember when
4K TVs a 50-inch 4K TV was $2,000, and now they're a 50-inch TV is like $250.
Yeah, and everyone was like, the internet can't support 4K streaming. It just can't.
Just didn't work.
And now it's like,
and now it can support almost whatever we want. It can support 15 devices streaming 4K videos at the same time.
I think YouTube caps your resolution at 8K.
8K, yeah,
which is insane.
And they've given special things. I'm pretty sure they've done a special video where it's like 12K, where they specially permitted one channel to like make a 12K video.
And what monitor are you watching that on?
My 1080p monitor.
Look, it looks pretty on my phone.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. Well, now you have a time constraint.
I do.
Are we well over?
I think we are.
Wow.
I think we are. Hey, that's.
You didn't have to set up your pretty lights.
It's worth it.
It is worth it.
It's worth it to get us
worth it on
to
the
get this lovely soft skin tone.
Yeah, like mine. Mine's pretty soft.
Yeah.
Black mist.
Yeah, you got the black
Never
mist.
Never taking it out, no matter what he says.
I didn't ask you to.
I know. I'm actually kind of surprised.
It's
because I'm editing it. That's why.
I thought about it, but I was like, no, he likes it too much.
It's
I'll
nice.
let him have his fun.
So what we need to do in the next week or so, with other things that we're doing, we need to make something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I think we need to make something.
I like it.
What do you think?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right, we'll discuss it off air because you have to leave.
I do. I have a dinner I need to get to.
Figures.
It's very fancy.
Figures. Where are you going?
Mexican. What is it? Not Cafe Rio. That's the chain one.
Mexico?
No, where we had our first lunch. Casa Rico.
Casa Rico.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
See if they have any more likes on their little like counter inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You remember that?
I do.
I hit the button and yeah, it was pretty cool. It does a little ticker. That's what we need in here. We need a Spotify. Those things are like $600.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways,
we'll get like a chalkboard.
Yeah, and write Jeet. And they'll be like, "What's Jeet?" Had to be there.
Yes, I jeeted already. Thank you very much.
Did Jeet?
No, I couldn't possibly. I'm very full. I've already jeet.
And now you're gonna go eat again.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for watching, listening, however you're enjoying this podcast. Hit us a follow. Give us a subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have some people listening on Audible, I saw.
Which is kind of cool.
Which is very nice.
I told you on the phone, I didn't know Audible had podcasts.
Yeah, they do.
So thanks, Audible.
Yeah. Technically, it's considered Amazon Music, but it shows up as Audible on the back end. It's a little strange.
Yeah, I think we were over 600 and some impressions since the last time.
Something
I think
like
last
that.
time. It's nice. We're getting there.
We're chugging along.
We keep being consistent, and start making content outside of just the podcast, I think we're gonna end up pretty well here.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Episode 4. It's in the bag. 4.
That's it. Thanks. Like, subscribe, share, subscribe, like.
Hit that bell if you're on YouTube. That's still a thing, isn't it?
The bell?
I'm pretty sure the bell is still a thing.
I don't think so.
No, I think the bell is still a thing.
Isn't there like a join button, or like you can pay to be a member of the person's thing and get the notifications or something?
You can. I don't think we have that enabled yet.
We suck. Our 2 subscribers, that's why.
Yeah, sorry guys.
It's all right.
We'll start monetizing you eventually. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll start squeezing and wrenching the money out. It's fine.
Oh gosh, have you seen what's been going on with Watcher, the YouTube channel lately? Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that because monetization is a whole other thing that we should talk about.
What is Watcher?
It's a good question.
Okay.
We'll get into that another time. If you know, you know, and we'll talk about it next time.
All right, peace.
Bye, guys. Sweet. NSYNC.